Welcome, everybody, to another Lowdown on Ridertown with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders, 98.1 KHAK, 94.1 KRNA, and the Union Station. Chad Cooper here with you. It is March 19th, and after tonight, we only have 2 more Lowdowns left. That's right, only 2 more shows left this season, and they both happen to be in the month of April. So we do not have a show next week. That means the Riders have a game that Wednesday night. I believe it's a home game, so you can get out to the stable on Wednesday. We will be back here at the Union Station on Tuesday, April 2nd, 5:30, same place, same time. So you can see us here on April 2nd, and we'll have our final 2 shows of the season. As always, want to thank all the people who help out each and every week. KHAK, KRNA, of course, the Union Station, not only the owner and the building, but also the staff, keeping everyone well-fed and well lubricated out here as well with drinks and everything. So that's good. Metro Studios for setting us up with the sound equipment, making sure everything works good, sounds good. Rick Boots for taking the photos. As I mentioned last week, it's a radio broadcast, but you can kind of put pictures to names and faces to names when you see the photos. Those usually get posted a day or 2 after the show as well. So keep that on. We also have all the audio at this point from past shows. It's all posted up online. We got our past 2 shows posted last weekend. The Riders shared those, I believe, on Sunday on St. Pat's Day. So if you're looking for something to listen to, those are out there. Want to also remind everybody we have the autographed jersey drawing that happens each and every week. You can sign up for it each and every week. We'll give that away on the final night, that April 9th show. Temperatures, I think, are above 50 for the first time that we've had the show this season, so I broke out the baby blue blazer. Feeling in a spring mood, Coach, so we're getting a little more into it.
It's quality cool.
Yep. So the last 2 shows, we're really going to go 100% on these. We're going to try to break out the craziest sport coats in the closet for the last 2 once we hit spring. All right, so I want to also thank the housing families and the billet families, because usually it's a Monday, might be Tuesday morning, those emails start flooding through, and I get the facts about the players, and then I start compiling all the questions from those. So we got a little dirt. We're joined up on stage tonight by head coach Mark Carlson, but also by players Jack Millar and Nate Hanley. Want to thank you guys for making the time, coming on out for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, weekend sweep, 2 wins against Team USA at home inside the stable. And, Coach, I'll start with you. I know you keep the messaging pretty consistent to the team throughout the season, but what's the theme that you try to impart to the guys here as you go down the stretch? Only a few more weeks left in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, really the same thing, Coop. We've been improving all year long and, played well, recently here, but we just got to stick to it, keep plugging away, keep getting better every day, and get ready for the next game.
Now, guys, I'll start with you as players. We like to get the backgrounds of the guys, where they're from, where they came from, and how they got here with the Rough Riders. And Jack, I'll start with you. Kind of tell us where you're from and how you wound up here in Cedar Rapids.
I'm Jack Millar. I'm from Westminster, Colorado, and I played for the Rocky Mountain Rough Riders out in Colorado pretty much my whole youth career. And then my U16 year, I was drafted here, and then I came to camp the following year and was protected. But then I went back to Colorado, played there, and then I came out for camp the next year and came here. And then I see that, in a good hometown fashion, you're repping Denver area, you're repping the Colorado Rockies on there too. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, some of the players, they don't wear hats, or you can't tell where they're from. Some of the guys, though, might break out like a Pittsburgh hat or something. So I like that you're repping the hometown. Yeah, that's nice. All right, Nate, how about you? Where are you from? How'd you wind up here with the Rough Riders?
I'm Nate Hanley, and I'm from Long Island, New York. And I got drafted here, and then I got called up like a month or 2 ago, and I just came here.
Now, Nate, I like you taking the opposite approach. You said, I'm repping the team. It's Rough Riders time. I got the Rough Riders gear on.
I'm a team guy.
You're a team guy, okay. So that's a good question, Coach. Can you talk a little bit about each of these guys? What influenced you? What inspired you to bring them on board? What did you see in both of them?
Yeah, Jackson, we had watched him play a number of years ago with the Rocky Mountain team, and thought he had great potential. As he mentioned, he came out the first year and wasn't quite ready, which is not uncommon, and went back and had a good year in midget, and then this year, by the time we got to the end of the summer there, he was ready to go. And then Nate, we drafted in the Futures draft. Would have been a year ago, or not quite a year ago yet, and he was doing really well with Suffolk PAL, and we brought him up in January, and he played well, and then there was an opportunity for him here, and as he said, here he is now.
Now, Nate, I'll start on your end with this question. This is the first time I've broken out this question. Last week was the first time I broke it out. Usually I'll ask the guys what their favorite moment in the game of hockey has been, or maybe how they first got started, or their favorite NHL team or something like that. How about, if you can remember, what was the first hockey game you ever attended? First hockey game in person. Can you remember?
No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Was it, do you know if it was an NHL high school game?
Yeah, it was probably an Islander game.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of those when I was younger.
How about you, Jack? You remember the first game you ever went to?
Yeah, it was probably an Avs game.
Yeah, you got to stay local. Coach, I've never asked you. What was the first game? Do you remember the first hockey game you ever attended?
I'm in the Hanley boat on that one.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how about, Jack, I know you've committed to Colorado College, correct?
Yes.
What went into that decision? Obviously, it's kind of back home for you, but what else went into your decision to commit there?
Honestly, that was the first school I actually kind of like really took a hard look at, and honestly, from like the first moment I stepped on campus, it kind of like everything clicked and it felt right.
And then, Nate, you've committed to Northeastern, correct?
Yeah.
What went into that decision on your end?
Well, I like the city of Boston. It's a nice city, and it's a good school. Good with hockey, too. So.
Now, I'll ask both you and Coach. Coach, I know you've got some history at Northeastern. For one, Boston, I mean, we know it's a great city and whatnot, so I'll ask you that. But also, I saw, you're not talking hockey, but going to another sport, I see that Northeastern, they made the NCAA tourney.
Yeah.
You got a little college basketball. So are you going to follow that maybe a little more closely than in years past, Nate?
Yeah,
Coach?
probably will.
Yeah, you're pulling for it. Coach, how about you? You following along on that?
Yeah, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, check it out. You guys still have a lot of pride connected to Northeastern, Coach. I know you used to coach there, and Nate, you're about to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do,
pride,
yeah.
A lot of Northeastern pride. All right, just wanted to check in on that. How about overall, from your side, Jack, you going to follow the NCAA tournament? You get into that, or you just kind of no interest on your end?
I'm a big Duke fan.
Big Duke fan?
Yeah.
That's a good team to be a fan of.
Yeah.
And then, Nate, you just sticking with Northeastern, or you got another team you like in the mix?
Northeastern.
All right, I like that. That's loyalty. Okay, Jack, how about tell us something interesting about Westminster, Colorado. That's where you're from. What's one interesting thing about the hometown? I know it's a suburb of Denver, right?
Yes.
What's one interesting thing, a fun fact, if you could impart on us?
I have no idea.
No idea?
No.
How about Denver? Where's the spot to eat in Denver?
Probably Maggiano's.
Is that Italian, I assume, right?
Yeah.
So nothing interesting going on in the hometown, though?
I mean, like, not that comes to my mind right away.
All right. Coach, you got anything in mind?
Yeah, well, I don't. We got to have something better than Maggiano's because that's a chain.
Oh, that's a chain.
What else we got?
All right.
I don't really go eat in the town very much.
Wow, okay. Jack, so you got nothing? How about in Denver, not anything off the cuff? Like if someone were going to Denver for the first time and you said, you got to really experience something that's local.
I mean, I'd probably go to like 16th Street, but.
Okay. Just kind of mill around?
Yeah.
All right. Nate, how about something interesting about Rocky Point?
It's near the beach.
Near the beach. That's a good one. Coach, you appreciate that, right?
Oh, you got to love the beach.
You got
That's
it.
great.
Now, Nate, I'll admit I did a little more digging on Rocky Point. Did you know this? I read that it's home to the only paragliding site on Long Island. It's the only spot you can go paragliding on Long Island.
I don't even know what paragliding is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you did it, but you already answered it. Coach, you never been paragliding, have you?
I have not yet.
Now, Coach, I know you're an East Coast guy. Have you ever been to Rocky Point?
I'm sure I have because I have spent a lot of time on Long Island, so I'm sure I've been through it at some point.
And now, Coach, I'll keep it here with you. Now, we won't see you for 2 weeks because we don't have a show next week. But when we see you April 2nd, it sounds like, from what I've read and from what I've heard, that you might look a little different. I heard there's an event coming up on Sunday. You want to tell us a little bit about that? I heard there's going to be the loss of hair. That's what I've heard. A shave. It's postponed. Oh, okay. We won't have the excitement around that.
Well, I have a few comments.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It was not postponed by me. It was postponed by others for some reason.
Okay.
I was fully ready to.
I was going to ask you, if you were. That was my main question.
Yeah, no,
whether you're ready to,
I was ready.
I figure if you commit to something like that, you got to be ready.
You got to, and it's for a good cause. So I don't know when we're going to be doing it, but we'll see.
All right, might be sometime in the future. Guys, as players, would you have any shock if Coach walked into the locker room one day and he was just bald? He had the clean top going on. Would it shock you a little bit? bit?
Yeah, a little.
A little? Just go with the flow, or kind of would it show on your face? Would it be like, whoa, coach shaved it all?
Yeah.
Yeah? You just kind of roll with it, though?
Yeah.
You don't want to act too scared or surprised or anything like that. All right, so we're going to have the housing questions coming up for the guys, and I'll ask you before we get into them, are you guys scared at all?
Yeah.
A little scared.
A little bit.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty. Before we do that, though, we're going to talk about the upcoming games for the Riders coming up this weekend. Waterloo is inside the stable on Friday. That's a Rough Riders, and that's RUFF, Dog Derby. That's the night, the theme going around for that. And then the Riders head up to Waterloo on Saturday night to take on the Blackhawks there. So it's a Blackhawks weekend. The players, coaches, they'll be taking on Waterloo Friday at home inside the stable, and then Saturday up at Waterloo. Now, Coach, before we get into asking the players questions, I have to ask you something. I heard last week we had Troy on the show, and his housing family said that he was tied as the tidiest, the cleanest player in the history of the housing family, of their housing family. They threw out one other former Rider that he was tied with. I was interested if you know who that might be, if you had a name in mind. Tidiest, cleanest. They said Troy he's tied. He's up there.
Did they tell you who was tied with?
Yeah, I've got it in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Greg Collins?
They said Robin Bergman.
Really?
Yeah, they said
Holy
he was
cow.
tied for the tidiest and the cleanest.
Okay.
Guys, do you take pride in keeping the lockers clean?
Yeah.
Yeah? How about, okay, it feels like you were confident, but also it's short, but that's cool. Okay, now how about telling us first, before we get into the questions, about who each of you guys live with? And I'll start with you, Nate.
I live with him.
Okay, you guys live together?
Yeah.
How about who is your housing family? I'm trying to get them some publicity. I'm trying to get their names out there. Who do you guys live with?
Ken and Allison Brown.
Okay, and how's that been for both of you guys?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
You like it? Jack, how about you?
Yeah, it's been good.
It's been all good? But now when you come from a different place, when you come here to the Midwest and you have to get not only integrated on the team but also in the housing family, was that tough? Was it easy? Did the housing family make it easier to kind of adapt to life here in Cedar Rapids? I'll start with you, Jack.
Yeah, I came out here like 2 weeks before the season actually started for school, so I got like more of a chance to like hang out with them and get to know them a little bit before hockey started, so that was good.
Now, where do you go to school at here in town?
Washington High School.
Washington. Now, I haven't really asked any of the players yet this year, but you know, when you're a high school student and you play sports, you might play in front of a couple hundred kids maybe, but you're a Rough Rider, so you're playing, this is kind of a pro level style of play. You're playing in front of a lot of people each and every night. How do your classmates interact with you knowing that you're a Rough Rider? How many of them know, and is it kind of cool?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, they'll always ask like how our games went or how things are going and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Nate, how about you? How was the transition to your housing family? Pretty easy?
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Pretty easy? Did it make things easier when you came here to Cedar Rapids, kind of get adjusted to everything?
Yeah, it did.
All right, now here we're getting to the real questions. All right, these are the ones, like they sent me some dirt on both of you guys. So we'll see what, what's the, Nate, you're already laughing. All right, Nate, and that's a good segue, Nate, because I heard, this is the first thing that came up in the email, they said you're very ticklish. That's the first thing that came up. That might be the funniest thing I've heard in an email yet. What's going on with that? Like, how did they even discover that? That was my main question.
I don't know, Jack just tickles me.
Jack, how did that start?
I don't even know.
Yeah. Okay, but I guess the question is, once you figured out that he was ticklish, then it just like elevated from there, just revved up?
Yeah, like it's super funny to hear this kid laugh.
Yeah, I heard that. Now this is the way it was described to me. Laughs like a kindergartner. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. I was almost going to ask Jack to like start tickling you up on stage, but we don't want to knock over any equipment or anything, so we'll keep it. Coach, I always like to ask him, we have these revelations. Do you know this about Nate and Jack?
I do, because I heard this giggling one time coming back on the bus at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was very concerned.
Yeah.
and then I learned what the situation was.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like this happens both at home but also on the bus. This can get broken out from time to time too?
Yeah.
Now, Nate, do you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel?
Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure
They try to trap me sometimes.
Yeah. Do other players get involved too? Is it like a team effort? Oh,
Jason Poland does a lot.
Okay. So Jason Poland, if anyone didn't hear that, he's been called out on air here for doing that. Jack, I heard that we usually ask the guys if they're a fan of movies or films, TVs, that sort of thing. I heard that you're a real fan of the Will Ferrell classics.
Oh, yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What are your favorite Will Ferrell movies?
Like The Other Guys, Step Brothers. Those are big ones.
Now, since you mentioned Step Brothers, I just kind of have a vision in my head. Is that like how life is with you and Nate in the housing family? Is that kind of like Step Brothers?
Yeah, it's kind of like the scene, like right after like they hit each other with the golf club when they're watching like Shark Week.
Yeah.
And they're just like giving each other high fives. And
That's how it plays out at the housing family. Now, what would you think, if I asked your guys' housing family to describe you two guys? Would you say, they're pretty easygoing? Oh, man, they're just a pain to put up with. They're always doing stuff all the time. What do you think they'd describe you guys as? Nate, I'll start with you.
That I'm a really good guy.
A really good guy, Nate says. Jack, how about you?
I'm pretty easygoing.
Pretty easygoing? Okay. How about Jack? I heard that this kind of plays into that too. Harassing each other like brothers, big Fortnite battles. That was the other thing over the emails. Is that true?
I don't know if it's like battles, but one time like our mics weren't working, so we were kind of just like screaming at each other through the hall.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Okay. Nate, is that kind of how that went down?
Yeah.
Now, Coach, did you know that these guys had the bond that they do at home? I mean, I know you've heard the tickling attacks from time to time, but did you know that they've kind of formed a bond?
I've heard a few other stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see if we get into those or not. I don't know if those got divulged or not. Nate, I heard that favorite kind of dinner, pretty simple, just meat.
Yeah.
Any specific kind of meat?
Like chicken?
Chicken?
Yeah.
What about a dish? Anything come to mind?
No.
No, just chicken?
No.
Fried?
Grilled and fried.
Ooh, grilled and fried, okay. So you're not picky when it comes to chicken?
No.
Okay, Jack, how about you? You have a favorite housing family meal?
I mean, I kind of like when they make pasta, but
What kind of pasta?
buttered noodles.
Okay. Now, Coach, I have to ask you for some insight here. The guys seem like, they're keeping it pretty tight under the vest here. They don't want to give too much up tonight. Is this how they really are in the locker room, on the bus, day to day, or are they kind of just playing it cool up here on stage? How would you describe these guys?
Well, the guys, we got a lot of our team here tonight, but they could probably comment more. But I think that this is how these two guys operate, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of all business for the most part.
Yeah, Coop, if I could say a few things, just like to welcome Rough Rider alum, the Z-Dog, back to town.
Big round of applause on that.
Yeah, one of our former captains and Anderson Cup champ, and he's more than welcome to come up and take my mic for the rest of the show if he wants to hop in.
Oh, does he want
the first time we've ever had an alum on.
Yeah, this would be a first. Yeah, I feel like we have to. Coach, now I have to ask you one more question because I had one more for you.
All right.
Now, probably helps with your coaching that you have some smart players because Jack, I heard, is a National Honor Society member. How's that work? When you get the players that are going to Ivy League schools, they're getting the National Honor Society awards. That's make things pretty easy, right?
Well, I'm used to it. I mean, they're all smarter than I am, so it makes things pretty simple.
All right. Coach is he's taking the stage. We've got our first time that we've had a Rough Rider alum come up for us. Big round of applause. Okay, now it seems appropriate. I mean, I know that, we've got a lot of round of applause, but I think we still, for people that might be listening at a later date, you got to fill us in on your background, who you are, how you got here with the Rough Riders, and then what you've been doing post-Rough Riders. This is our first time we've been able to do this on the show.
I'm Zach Robbins from Chicago, Illinois. Wasn't drafted. I tried out here. Thankfully made it. Was here for 2 years. Won an Anderson Cup here, and then ever since I've been with the UConn, just grinding there. Not much to it. That's about it.
Now, for two guys up here who are currently on the team, who have aspirations, they're already committed to play college hockey. What was the transition like from the USHL to playing collegiate hockey? What's that like for a player?
Definitely just school, and all the guys at the college level are all just bigger and stronger. in juniors it's a lot of fun just hanging around with the guys, but then when you add in school, like, it's a lot different, so just preparing for that part.
Now, we also hear about the USHL that a lot of players say when they come here it's about the speed of the game. Is it a lot faster at the collegiate level, or does the USHL really kind of set you up for success in college?
USHL does a very good job at setting you up for college at, the speed and everything, but like I said earlier, it's just about the strength when you get to collegiate level.
Now, I believe that you're also an alum of the Lowdown as well. I think you were on a show.
Yes.
Now, I think by the time you got on, we were doing kind of the housing family stuff. We were asking some fun questions off the ice.
Yeah.
Do you remember one thing? I mean, we didn't get to do the research, obviously, because we didn't know you were coming tonight, but was there something you remember from that show that you're like, my housing family, they kind of, they maybe not threw me under the bus, but there was something, a fun fact I didn't think they were going to dig up about me?
Might have to get back to you on that one.
All right, I'm going to let you think about it, but I'm also, feel free to chime in with commentary when we ask these guys a couple other questions too, because these are all housing family related. Now, Jack, I'll go with you on this one. I heard that it's one thing for a player to maybe have a dirty car or whatever. I heard that you might have the most unclean car on the team, outside, inside. The housing family said they don't think it's been washed externally or vacuumed internally since the start of the season. Is that an exaggeration? What's going on with the car?
No, that's probably pretty true. I have not watched the outside once. It's not like dirty on the inside. Like, I take all the trash out, but yeah.
You cop to it. You admit it.
Yeah.
Nate, what are your thoughts on Jack's car? Have you seen it? Do you agree? It's a little dusty.
It's not that dirty.
It's not that dirty?
Just got random stuff in there, like a bowling ball.
Oh, okay. Jack, are you a bowler?
Big bowler.
Big bowler, okay. Is that your main hobby off the ice if we're not talking hockey?
No.
No. Are you a good bowler?
Not really.
Not really, okay. Nate, are you a good bowler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's your average?
Like 40.
Okay, that sounds good. It's not golf. The lower the score, not the better.
Yeah.
Do you guys play golf? I know we've had a couple riders on who have played golf.
I play a little in the summer.
Yeah. Are you guys good?
No.
No, it's not working? Okay. Now, I was going to ask all three of you guys throughout your history with the Rough Riders. Nate, I'll start with you. Who has either the best or the cleanest car on the team? Who's got the best ride?
Will Zmolik.
Will Zmolik?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Jack? Who do you think?
Yeah, Will Zmolik's got a pretty clean car.
All right. How about in your time with the riders? Who do you think? Who had the best whip, best ride in the parking lot?
Definitely would have to be Reese Smolik.
Okay, that's a consensus across the board. We got it. Now, Jack, I talked to Coach about this before he stepped off stage, but you are a National Honor Society member. Tell us about the work that goes in when you have to balance hockey but also school at the same time, the academic side of things. What's that like?
It's just kind of like time management, just knowing what you have to do and getting it done.
Now, what's it like when you move from towns and move schools? You come here to Cedar Rapids, you got a new hometown now, you have a new school. What's the transition like, not just on the hockey team, but also in making things work in the classroom too?
The school is really good about it. I mean, they've done it before, so they do a good job of helping us transition, and all the teachers are really nice about it and kind of helped work me into it.
And then Nate, how about life off the ice? What are you doing when you're not playing hockey? What's the main thing?
Go to school.
Okay. Where do you go to school at?
Washington.
Washington. All right. So are you guys hanging out? Are you guys hanging out at lunch together? You roam in the halls together? What's it like at Wash?
We have 2 classes together.
Okay. And would the teachers be like, oh man, we got the class with both Jack and Nate, things are going to go bad? Or is it all good?
It's all good.
It's all good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm believing you guys. All right. How about we go down the line? I'll go to this. This is an oldie but a goodie. We'll go with all three of you guys on this one. Favorite NHL team and player. Nate, I'll start on your end.
My favorite team is the Islanders, and my favorite player is Barzal.
Okay. Jack, how about you?
My favorite team's the Avs, but I like Erik Karlsson.
Okay. And then Zach will ask you.
Blackhawks, Jonathan Toews.
Got to stay true to Chicago. Now, Zach, I have to ask you, what brings you back to Cedar Rapids, into town tonight?
I have a girlfriend here, and when I was here,
Yeah. Big round of applause. Now,
And of course, to come see Carlson and Tammy.
Of course. You got to see the guys and coach. Yeah. Now, Zach, after I was going to ask you what your thoughts of Cedar Rapids were in your time with the Rough Riders. It sounds like it was great overall. Yeah. You get a great team experience. You get a collegiate commitment. You go and play collegiate hockey, and you find a girlfriend too.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Now, I got to ask, how'd you guys meet?
Actually, through a guy on the team right now, Liam. Liam had a girlfriend at the time who was best friends with Nicole, and that's kind of how we just met.
Okay. And then what's the trip like? How long are you here in Cedar Rapids?
Right now I'm on spring break, so just a couple days, just say hellos and everything.
Now, are you going to be able to stick around and see the games this weekend, or are you going to have to head back?
No, I'm going to have to head back for those.
Head back. Now, guys, I'll ask you, this past weekend, the Rough Riders, they have the families, your guys' families, also the housing families, all of it together. When you tell your family that, hey, I want to play hockey and I'm going to go travel, I'm going to go to Cedar Rapids, I'm going to get in this system where, I don't know where I'll wind up, for sure. What were your parents' thoughts when you said, I want to play pretty competitive hockey? Nate, I'll start with you.
They were supportive about it.
Now, does your family have a hockey background? Is that what got you into the game?
No, not really.
Not really? But they were cool with it? They said, yeah, chase your dream?
Yeah.
Jack, how about you?
Both my older brothers played hockey, and they were kind of going through the same thing, so they knew what was happening.
Now, did you take a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation from your brother seeing them play?
Yeah.
Now, Zach, how about if you can remember back to your time with your family and when you said, hey, I want to play hockey, but not just play hockey, I want to be really competitive about it, I'm going to follow my dream, might have to travel around the country. What was your family's impression when you did that?
Definitely stemmed from my father's side of the family. All of them played hockey. I've just growing up just always been competitive, so it wasn't really a decision. It just kind of just flowed into competitiveness.
Now, Zach, I'll let you think about this one. I'll start with Nate's end. We talk a little bit about nicknames each and every week. Do you have a favorite nickname on the team? Nate, I'll ask you first.
No, I don't think I really have a favorite one.
Nothing that sticks out?
No.
Jack, how about you?
I like how everyone calls Max Sasson Joe Goldberg.
And how did that originate? Do you know the story behind that one?
There's a Netflix show called You. It's about this stalker dude.
Yeah.
He looks like him.
Does he look like the stalker dude?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Does he like that nickname, or he just rolls with it?
I don't think he likes it.
Yeah, he does not like it. Zach, how about you? Do you have a favorite nickname from your time with the Riders? Something that sticks out?
The all-time favorite is just Pug. We all had Pug brothers, and a couple guys just Liam actually. He was one of the Pug gang. Other than that, yeah.
Now, when you come back, Zach, is it just kind of right back into the fold with the family, with the teammates? I know there's some new guys on the team, but also maybe some guys that you know. How easy is it to just kind of transition right back into the Riders family?
I kind of just walked in the door and immediately got some hellos, so pretty easy.
Feels pretty good. Yeah, it's like a family. Once a Rider, always a Rider, right?
Always.
Now, guys, Nate, I'll ask you this from a standpoint of TV. What are you watching right now? What do you like? What's on the dial when you're watching TV?
I just watched Netflix.
Just Netflix?
Yeah.
Is there a show in mind? Something specific that pops up?
I like The Office.
The Office?
Yeah.
Jack, how about you?
Right now I'm watching a show called Peaky Blinders.
Okay. Now, you guys watch two different shows. How's that like when you're living in the same house? Do you guys share it? What's that look like? You got separate TVs?
Separate TVs.
Separate TVs. So it's all copacetic. It's all cool?
Yeah.
You guys are all cool? Now, we learned something interesting, and he was almost going to keep it under the belt until we got to the very end of the show. I don't even know if Coach knows this. We had Ethan on here, and he wasn't going to spill the beans until the very end of the show. He's like a 3-time BMX champion. Nate, did you know this?
Yeah, I heard about it.
You heard about it?
Yeah.
Jack, did you know this?
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to mention it at all. And then when we said, hey, Ethan, we heard this, he's like, it's no big deal. It's just a 3-time champion. Just played it under. Has he ever talked to you guys about some of his biking days at all?
No.
Someone said he was on the bus the other day, he was saying, the bikes are all different than what we used to have and everything. No? You guys aren't? No?
The only time we talked about it was him and Kenny were talking about it at the end of the training camp, and that's how I kind of found out about it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask all three of you guys. What's the best hidden talent on the team that a guy has that isn't hockey related but is just great at? Nate, I'll start with you.
I don't know.
Now, let me ask, because this is what spawned this question. I saw a video on the Riders Facebook page about a month ago. Kyle Loft, he was on the ice before the game, and he was doing some pretty great, he was flipping the puck. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I was wondering, that sparked that, does anyone have any hidden talents on the team? Because that was pretty cool. Jack, do you think of anything?
I mean, I heard JT's pretty sick at basketball, but, other than that.
All right. Zach, how about in your time? Did anyone on the Riders have just a crazy skill that it was like, where did that come from? BMX champion or sick basketball player or flipping pucks, anything like that?
Nothing like that. I know Liam's really, really good at disappointing girls.
That is a rare skill. Yeah, that is Nate, Jack, you want to corroborate that, or are you going to stay out of that one?
No, it makes sense.
Jack says, no, that makes sense. Okay. Now, Zach, you probably have a little more leeway because you're not on the team anymore, so you can give some guys, you can rib some guys. You don't have to be in the locker room each and every day.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you about pregame rituals. Did any of the players, when you were with the Riders, had like a weird pregame ritual? I've heard some of the guys go out to the same spot to eat every day or something like that, but did you know anybody who had something just weird?
I really can't think of anything.
What was yours? Did you have a pregame ritual, any superstitions, anything you did?
When I was here, we just usually just ate at the same place the night before the game. Just about it.
Nate, do you have a pregame meal, something you always go to?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's, what do you get at Jimmy John's?
Ham and roast beef.
All right. No chicken?
No.
Oh, my God. All right. Jack, how about you? What's your pregame meal?
Jimmy John's.
All right. And what do you get at Jimmy John's?
Number one, no tomato.
Okay. Do you guys go together?
Yeah.
Do you go to the same Jimmy John's each time?
Yeah.
Do they know your orders?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just walk in the door, they're like, this is number one, turkey ham. They got you?
Pretty much.
Do they know your names?
No, I don't think so.
No? Do they know your Rough Riders?
Yes.
All right. So you guys maybe have some star treatment when you walk in? Everyone's like, hey, we got a couple Riders players here. No?
Probably not.
Probably not? Okay. Zach, did you kind of have that star treatment when you were here in Cedar Rapids? Did you have any place where they were like, we got a Rough Rider coming in all the time for food or anything?
We were definitely friendly faces at Olive Garden. That's where we ate a lot. So.
Okay. What was your go-to at Olive Garden? Did you have a go-to pregame meal?
Chicken marsala.
Okay, that's a good one. Now, since we have a very rare opportunity to talk to someone who's been with the Riders and then moved on, now they're an alum, what's the best thing about your college experience so far that you've been able to either have on the ice or off the ice? What's been the best thing at UConn?
I'd say just as here, the brotherhood, everyone's just so close. I think that stems from juniors too. So.
Now, before we wrap up here, I've gone down the list. I think I've gotten everything about you guys that I got emailed to me. But is there anything that we missed out that needs to see the light of day that has not been brought up tonight, that we haven't, a stone that we haven't turned over? Nate, I'll start with you. Anything you can think of? I know you've kept it close to the vest. Anything that you know about Jack? You spent a lot of time with him. Anything you know?
No.
No? Jack, how about you?
No.
All right, you guys are staying loyal. Zach, anything you know about your teammates that you just want to throw out right now? No. These, all right, we're keeping it pretty close to the vest. All right, so we want to thank each of you guys, Nate, Jack, and also Zach, for coming up here. First time ever on the Lowdown. Let's give up another round of applause. Alum, Rough Rider alum, up on stage. I want to remind everybody that the audio from this show, which has now become a historic show in the Lowdown Pantheon and all the profiles that we've had, we have Rough Rider alum on with us. This will be posted in the next couple of days. We always get them posted by the weekend after we have the shows. The Riders have 2 games this weekend, as I mentioned at the start. Waterloo inside the stable on Friday. That's a Rough Riders Dog Derby. You know what? I got to ask you guys this. Nate, you have a favorite theme night that the Riders have done? Something that you thought this was cool? I mean, I know you're on the ice or you're back in the locker room during intermission, but something that you've seen, you're like, that's pretty cool.
The fire department and police department one was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Jack, anything that sticks out in your mind?
I like the military night one.
Military night one. Zach, anything in your day as the Riders you thought, it's pretty cool? It's kind of a unique theme night.
Star Wars, the jerseys.
Star Wars, yeah, okay. So that's a good segue. Favorite jerseys that you guys have worn? I know they customize the jerseys every now and then. Have some pretty good ones for ALS night. Nate, anything sticks out?
The fire department.
Fire department. All right, that was a good night. Jack, how about you?
I like the Christmas ones a lot.
Christmas, we had a lot of players say they like that. And then Zach, you're sticking with Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so once again, Riders, Waterloo inside the stable on Friday. Rough Riders, that means it's Dog Derby night, so that should be fun. And then the Riders head up to Waterloo on Saturday. I want to thank everyone for coming out. A reminder, we do not have a show next week because the Riders have a game that following day, that Wednesday, the 27th. I believe it's at home, so get out to the stable for that. We will be back here at the Union Station 5:30, Tuesday, April 2nd for another Lowdown on Ridertown. It'll be our second to last show, so come on out, tell a friend. We're going to pack the house the last two shows. And thank you, as always, for coming out for another Lowdown on Ridertown. Thanks.